Hi everybody, Andy here from Fit Body Strong Mind. Today I want to answer another question which I see an awful lot, and that question is, I'm trying to build muscle but it's just not happening for me. Now this video is aimed more at beginners. I'm not going to pretend that I can teach seasoned bodybuilders anything, but for beginners the process of building muscle can sometimes be made more complicated than it actually needs to be. And in fact, if you're a beginner, the process can be very, very simple. However, there's 6 things I want you to ask yourself if you are a beginner who's trying to build muscle, or even if you've been training for a while but you've really been struggling to build muscle. Ask yourself these 6 questions, and either it might get you started and get you going properly, or it might kick you out of a bit of a slump. Perhaps you've just forgotten some of the basics that you need to get back to. So let's have a look at what those 6 things are. I'm just going to note them up on my trusty whiteboard here. So the very first thing you need to ask yourself if you want to build muscle but you're struggling to is, are you in a calorie surplus? So number 1, a calorie surplus. Calorie surplus. Basically, the fact of the matter is that your body needs calories in order to grow, in order to build new muscle. So if you're not getting more calories into your body than you're burning, you're quite simply not giving your body the materials that it needs to build muscle. It can't recover from your training sessions, and it doesn't have the leftover energy to build new muscle. Your body can't get bigger unless you give it more energy than what it's expending. And that's essentially what you're doing when you want to build muscle. You're trying to get bigger, you're trying to build your size. So that's the first thing you need to be sure of. Are you in a calorie surplus? Very easy ways to work that out. You can monitor your calories over a period of time and then determine whether your weight is going up and down and adjust accordingly, or you can use some more exact formulas, which I'm not going to go into in this video. But very simply, just make sure you're monitoring your weight every week. If your weight is not going up steadily, you're not in a calorie surplus over time. So that's the first thing you have to address. The second thing that you must be certain of is, are you focusing on building strength first with compound movements? It's very, very important. So number 2, strength plus compound movements. Now, again, we're not trying to be world-class bodybuilders here, so doing 30 sets of arm curls is just not necessary. And it's not right for those of us who are beginners or intermediates, because the first thing we have to do is create the hormonal internal system in order to build muscle. So we have to do things which are going to kick up our hormones such as testosterone and growth hormone. And that's done using the big compound exercises such as squats, deadlifts, bench press, and building real strength on those exercises, because muscle always follows strength. Yes, if you're trying to optimize muscle building and you've been training for a long time and you're trying to eke out gains, yes, you need to focus more on things like the amount of time under tension. You need to be very specific about the type of reps you're doing, the intensity that you work at, and you'll need to add a bit more volume. But for those of us who are in the beginning to intermediate stages, which is 99% of trainees, you need to focus on getting stronger on the compound exercises. That's the first thing. And also it's much more efficient because you get the biggest bang for your buck. The third thing you need to be aware of, or the third question you need to ask yourself, is related to number 2, and that is, are you achieving linear progression? So number 3, linear progression. Now, linear progression is very simple. It just means, are you progressing over time in a step-by-step linear fashion like that? So let's say on the squat. Squat is an extremely important exercise. Are you squatting more over time? Very, very simple. And if that's not the case, if you find yourself going into the gym every week or every day or every session and doing the same workout, the same weights, etc., you're not progressing. You're not gaining, you're not building your strength over time, and that means that you're not going to build any muscle. Again, muscle follows strength, so you have to build significant strength over the period of time before you'll be able to build any muscle. So really, really important. Make sure that you keep a training diary and make sure you're constantly progressing over time. Doesn't need to be extra weight on the bar every session, but over time you should be looking to progress more and more. The fourth question that you need to ask yourself is, am I getting enough protein? Really, really important. Still, even in this day and age where we have so many people who are getting more knowledgeable about training, such a huge percentage of the population are still scared of protein for some strange reason. And the fact is that if you're training hard and you're trying to build muscle, you must get a sufficient amount of protein. You must be aiming to get at least 2 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight, or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And it's really, really essential, because when you train, you're breaking down your muscles, you're tearing up the muscle tissue, you're tearing up the fibres, and protein, the amino acids in protein, are the building blocks of muscle, and you need this to repair, recover, and then build new muscle. So really, really important, and you'd actually be surprised at the difference an additional protein intake can make. It can make a really, really significant difference, and for some people that's all they need to do. They just need to kick up the amount of protein that they take in, and they'll see their results skyrocket. Number 6 is a bit of an unusual one in this low carb world. Number five is carbs. Are you getting enough carbs? One of the things that has become prevalent in the world recently is the low carb culture, and there's nothing wrong with this, because for a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, they do need to lower their carb intake. But for those of us who really want to build muscle, if you're serious about building muscle, you must not be afraid of carbs. Carbs are so important for energy, for recovery. They spike your insulins, which is a storage hormone, so that then shuttles all the materials and amino acids and everything that you need into your bloodstream and into your muscles for recovery. And the insulin spiked by carbs. So they're so important, especially around the training window, particularly after training. If you're not getting a decent meal of protein and carbs after training, then you're really leaving a lot of potential progress on the table. You're really potentially hamstringing yourself. So it's really important that you get enough carbs. And I would aim to be getting, if you're trying to build muscle, I would be aiming to get double the amount of carbs compared to the amount of protein that you're getting. It's different for everybody, so you have to chop and change to see what suits yourself and produces results for you. But do not be afraid of carbs. If you're trying to build muscle, they are necessary. And the last thing that you have to focus on is recovery. And again, this is something that is so overlooked by a huge number of people. The fact is, and you've probably heard this before, and I don't want to go around continually repeating things which everybody says, but muscle is not built in the gym. It's built recovering from your gym sessions. It's built recovering from lifting weights. So what a lot of people do is, when they get enthusiastic about a new regime, they go to the gym every day, or 4 days a week, or 5 days a week, and quite simply they end up overreaching, and it's unnecessary, because you're not allowing your body the time to actually recover and build new muscle. Now, for beginner trainees, you can train quite regularly and you recover quite quickly because the weights you lift are not that heavy. But still, you do need to allow time for recovery. So you should allow at least a day between sessions. Training 3 times a week is more than enough for a beginner trainee to gain plenty of muscle on. So it's essential that you do leave enough time for recovery. Don't try and train every day. And also in recovery come 2 things: food, which we've covered, calorie surplus, and eating enough protein and carbs, and good fats for recovery. But the other aspect of recovery is sleep, which is something that so many people in this current world are deficient in. And if you're training hard, you want to be aiming for at least 8 hours of sleep a night, preferably 9 or 10 if you really want to optimize your gains. Sleep is one of the most anabolic things that is available to you. So it's a tool, it's a weapon. So again, make sure you're getting enough sleep if you want to maximise your muscle gains. Okay, so those are 6 questions that you need to ask yourself if you want to make sure you're building muscle and you're struggling. So are you in a calorie surplus? Are you working on strength on the compound exercises? Are you achieving linear progression? Are you getting enough protein and carbs? And are you allowing enough time and resources for recovery? If you master all 6 of those, you'll quickly find yourself progressing and you'll be moving on to more advanced techniques sooner rather than later. If you want to read a bit more, learn a bit more, head over to fitbodystrongmind.com. There's lots of articles and videos there. Otherwise, hopefully see you in another video. Thanks for watching.